Welcome to the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about game day, about prepping for the party, going to the party, coming home from the party. Let's talk about game day prep. So, the most important things that I do, I get a wax a few days before. I try to get plenty of rest. I try to drink a lot of water. I tend to put out a lot of fluid at the parties, and it's always very important to hydrate. I hydrate there, I hydrate before, I try to make sure that I'm ready to go. I eat early so that way there's nothing really in my stomach that could unexpectedly come up during a blowjob. AKA Cosby sweaters. I am not a fan, and it will definitely ruin the mood. I shower and shave. I make sure that I am exfoliated head to toe so that my skin is super soft. I make sure that my nails are done the day of. I need to make sure that I've got my pedicure on point. I've got my nails on point because a lot of men like to play with my feet, and I really enjoy that. So for me, having cute feet that are super smooth and don't feel like a Brillo pad is really preferential. Then I have to choose my outfit. Now, the outfit is usually something that goes along with the theme, and the themes vary from party to party. And some people participate in the theme and some people do not. I am a huge fan of participating in the theme. I think that when somebody takes the time to say, this is what we're doing, let's all be on the same page, that it's respectful and fun to be on the same page. It gives you the opportunity to dress in a way that you normally wouldn't. It's kink. It's fun. So for me, that's a huge piece of it. And then, of course, my lingerie and making sure that what I have on every single layer is exactly what I want it to be. Now, the next thing that I have to take care of is packing. I got to pack my after clothes and my hoe to go. And if I'm staying over, I also have to pack a bag and toiletries so that I can get up and get ready in the morning and go about my day the next day without missing anything vitally important. Um, so it depends on where you plan to end up as to how much preparation you have to do. If you're staying over at the hotel, then there's a lot more prep to go into it, but there's a lot less after stuff to go into it. So it's a balancing act, really. I usually, on the way there, will stop and grab a snack because it's a long drive up there and I want something to keep the hunger pangs away because I definitely don't want to eat the food at the party because if something doesn't agree with me, I'd have to leave the party and then it would be a bust of an evening. So small, quick meal beforehand keeps me from needing to eat at the party because I do burn through a lot of energy. It's a marathon up there. Um, but I'll talk to you about that. So, this party that I just went to had a theme. It was an all white party. So, everybody dressed in all white. And it was fun because a lot of people did. And some people didn't, but a lot of people did. There was a lot of white lingerie there. It was a lot of really fun, good stuff. I met a couple that were visiting from out of state because they told me a story about their home state, about the fact that things had gotten so wild within their kink community that they had basically gotten banned from hotel spaces and event spaces. So everything that was being done had to be done in like private homes. But if you have literally ripped the sink off a hotel bathroom wall, do you really want that kind of atmosphere in your private home? So it really drastically reduced the amount of events that were local to them and created a wasteland in their particular area. So that is kind of why I like very much to set boundaries that we all can, so that the community stays safe. Because you can create a wasteland where there was an active social atmosphere by not behaving within the confines of non-lifestyle rules and regulations. So I found it incredibly interesting that their kink scene had undergone such a drastic alteration because of the behavior of a few. Now, that was super fun. We were, when you get to the party, there's this period of time where everybody hangs out and talks while we're waiting for the rules to be outlined. And I've gone over the rules before, so I won't do it again. But when you're in that period where everybody's still fully clothed and we're all just sitting around, it's a great opportunity to get to know somebody that you would never have met without the lifestyle. It was fun and funny, and we told jokes and we exchanged stories, and it was a really, really good time. It was a good party even without this, before the sex started. So then we, of course, had the rules read, and at that particular time, I had seen a couple of my regular friends that I hung out with and just really loved to play with. And I touched base, made sure that they knew that I was there, made sure that they knew that I was interested in hanging out with them. And while I was over talking to one of my friends, a gentleman approached me and asked me to play. Kind of what I'm there for. So I was like, sure. So now comes the moment where you're in a room filled with, I don't know, there must have been about 40 people in the 2 suites. And now I have to go over to the closet and get naked, because even if I didn't get fully naked, it would be requested eventually. So I am I have just gotten very comfortable with stripping down to nothing and being like, this is it. I do have a robe so that in the off times when I'm not on the bed, engaged in play, I do have something to make me feel a little bit more modest. It's fun. It's a good time. So he approached me and he asked me to play, and I said, "Of course." Now he's somebody I had met before and I had had a really good time with. Uh, he did decide that he needed a little bit more emotional connection after the fact at the previous time that we had played, and I was really hoping that that wasn't gonna be a feature of this one. Um, because we played and it was glorious. I mean, I was Niagara Falls. I was coming everywhere. It was great. And then after I played with him, so after I'd gotten up with OG, who was the original man who approached me, I there was a man, we'll call him T. He came up and asked me to play. And T's got a great dick, and we played very, very well together. And it was fun, and he was hitting all the right spots, and it was great. Um, but at some point, it became extraordinarily obvious that he had horribly bad breath, and it was uncomfortable because it was that moment when you're, you know, genital to genital and stopping the action. If it's just it's a rough hang. But we got to the end, and then we got to the end, and then R came over. And R I have played with before. He was very high. His eyes were very glassy, and it was obvious that in his vape was pot. So we I was playing with him, and I was giving him a blowjob. And I was giving him the kind of blowjob that you can tell I got him close. I got him super close several times because he kept making that yeah, like noise in the back of his throat that was like, uh, okay, okay. And he eventually had to stop me. But then he fucked me and it was amazing. Oh, yeah, it was really really good. The just oh god, he has a very long, nice girth dick that does that thing where it hits your cervix and it's a little bit painful, but then it's also like really, really good. It's very hard to explain for anybody who hasn't had a cervix in their life, but he stretches the end of my vagina and it's glorious. Glorious. Um, then I got up for a while and my friend D came. My female friend D. And and I love to hang out and chat at these places. And we actually ended up on the bed, and it was very hot. And there was a young gentleman there who we'll call Fanboy, who was waving a pillow in our direction because it was so hot in the room. There were way too many people. The air conditioning was struggling to keep up anyway, and it was a steamy mess in there. So he was fanning us while we were on the bed, and it was great. And then he got in on the action because OG had come back, and I was fucking OG while he was fanning me, and it was great. Now, OG was is the kind of guy who leans in and whispers, "This is a great dick. Your pussy loves this dick. This is the best dick at this party. Tell me this is the best dick at this party." And I got to admit, whispering in my ear about how hot this is and how hot your dick is kind of gets me there, kind of gets me going. I fucking loved it and I was coming. Then, because of the fact that Fanboy had been watching, he was very interested in playing. So he jumped up on the bed and we went a round or two. And it was so much fun because we were making all sorts of jokes. Now, as the night wears on, things are getting slicker down there. And he kept slipping out and like just sort of missing reentry a little bit too far south. And a couple times it was almost surprise anal. And I have a habit of making jokes in the middle of sexual moments because of the fact that I really honestly believe that sex should be fun and should be communicative and sex should be a laughing experience. And when I laugh, I kegel, which means I am clamping down on whatever is inside me. I love that feeling because they whoever's inside of me is like, "Ugh, okay, wow." It's such a moment for me, and I fucking love it. I feel like jokes should be a part of everything that we do. If we're not laughing, if we're not participating fully, ugh, what's the point? Anyway, so it was great, and he did really, really good things to me. And when he slipped down one too many times and I made a sound, um, my male friend D was like, "What happened?" And I said, "He's being a little Charmin." And everybody knew that that meant he was trying to go backdoor, accidental backdoor. So it ended up being a great time and so much fun. And we were giggling and having such an amazing time. My friend D came over to play with my other friend D. So my D crew was over there. And Dee's got amazing breasts, and she gets a lot of play with her breasts. So, and she really loves it. So they were over there playing, and it was so much fun to just hang out and be in that moment. Um, we had just finished up. I think that we'd been there about 4 hours at that point, and playing for 3. And we were on D and I were on the bed, and we were just hanging out waiting because everybody had sort of tapped out. One gentleman had come over and stuck his dick in my face while I was being fucked, and so I played with him a little bit, and then but he never really got all the way up to fucking me. So we were laying on the bed waiting because I had assumed that this gentleman would take a turn, and he didn't. And so a lady came in from the other room and was like, "Are you guys done playing?" Which is basically rude clue that she wants us to get out of the bed so she can use it. So we were polite and we got up and we moved out of the way, and she took over the bed. Now, she took over the bed with my friend Alex, and Alex is tall and thin and has a massive dick. He has a heavy accent, and he is hot. I mean, hot. Objectively hot. And so she basically is like, "You're going to come in here and fuck me." And so she laid down, and he was not, let's say he wasn't feeling it. So he started with her breasts and tried to get her to give him a blowjob. And she licked at it a couple times, and then she laid back. So he went down on her, giving her full access to his cock the entire time. And instead of taking advantage of his cock being right there, she put her hands over her head and went and looked like she went to sleep. She made no noise. She didn't move. He's down there licking her pussy for everything he's got, and she's silent and still. And then when he kind of was like, "Oh, it's too hot. I can't seem to get it up." She was offended. So this went on for a while, like 20 minutes. And he kind of walked away, and then she ended up getting up out of the bed. Well, meanwhile, we had wandered around, and then he had come back through and he had already asked me if he could be on my dance card. So he laid down on the bed, and I was taking off my robe when she walked back into the room, and she got pissed. She was horribly offended that he was getting ready to play with me when he hadn't been able to play with her. She said some rude shit and basically killed the vibe for me. I looked at all my friends who I hadn't been able to play with, and I said, "I'm real sorry, guys. I gotta go." So I got dressed and I got out of there. We'd already been there 3 hours, and we had a great time. There was no sense in spoiling this over one girl's hissy fit. I understand that some people are not demonstrative. But when a guy's giving you everything he's got and he's telling you, "I'm not getting there. It's too hot. I need something has to change in order for this to work." And all you can say to him is, "It's not too hot." He was giving you an out there, baby girl. He was giving you an out. He was telling you, "This isn't working for me." And you know what? There's absolutely no reason why it has to work between every two people. But I am saddened that I ended up leaving because of this behavior. I feel like I should have stuck it out, hung out with my friends, seen where it could go in other avenues, found a different space. But she had irritated me, and I was like, "You know what? I'm hungry. Let's go get some food and head home." I had already fucked 5 people, sucked 2 others. I was okay. I had gotten I had gotten what I needed out of this, and I'd been on a very long hiatus. It had been several weeks since I had played, and it was great. It was amazing. It was a nice icebreaker to come back into the lifestyle, and I really did miss playing with my friends, Dee and Alex, but sometimes that's the way that it goes. And my other friends, Jay and Jeff, weren't there, which was I missed them too, but eh, we'll get there. It's a huge party scene, and eventually we'll run into one another. Um, but it was all in all, it was a great time. So now we're ready to leave. And I have to slide back into the clothes I brought to go home in because I never wear out what I wore in. Because by that time, I don't want anything tight. I don't want anything that I'm gonna have to wiggle into. I want easy slide on shit that I can get out of there, and so I don't have to put my bra back on. I usually bring a camisole with a shelf in it, and we make good time out of there. So we packed up and we got out of there, and then my husband and I stopped and we got fast food, and then we headed home. And it's a fair drive home, and so we spent the drive talking about what had happened, recapping. And then when we got home, my husband was very ready to play. So we went upstairs and he fucked me. Oh my God, he fucked me. He was so eager. And he was talking about all the dicks that I'd had. And he was talking about how he wanted me to come on his dick like it was one of the BBCs that I had just had. And he was talking about, what a sloppy mess I was. And I gotta tell you, that man knows how to get to me. That man knows how to push my buttons. and make me come. And I am grateful for the lifestyle, but I am more grateful for the reclaiming at the end of the night. I am so grateful that I have this husband who shares this with me, who is there with me, protecting me, reclaiming me, taking me back after all of these moments. It is incredibly hot and incredibly fun. And I am so lucky. It's the only way to say it. So today I want to talk about wastelands and traveling for fun, traveling for dick. Um, this is something that actually kind of interests me. Finding When I was speaking to this couple that I met at this party the other night, and they were talking about how their area had turned into a wasteland because of bad behavior. I was intrigued because they'll do a weekend trip, visit some breweries, spend time in the city, and find parties on FET. It is awesome to me. Like, so awesome. Because first of all, it imbues the area with new blood, and it gives them new locations to seek out. So if you have a really great time at a party, you know, hey, we should head back this direction, because they had come earlier in the month to a different party that I hadn't been at, and then they showed up at this one, and they were obviously new faces to me, and I'm very familiar with most of the faces that show up. So um it was very intriguing, and I sat down and we talked for a good long while. And the idea of traveling to a different city and checking out the local scene and being the new kids and being interesting at a party where normally you're just old hat sounds so intriguing to me. It sounds like such a good use of time, because traveling obviously can be so much fun, exploring new places, seeing new things, immersing yourself in the city's culture for the during the day, and then going to a party at night. I love it. Now, my husband and I did try to do this when we traveled to Vegas back in January. We really did try. We really did want to participate in the local scene and see what was going on out in that area. Um, Unfortunately, due to flights being hit and miss, we missed our opportunity, and we ran out of time because we'd already had all these other things stacked up and planned that we also had to do. So we never actually got a chance to sample the wildlife. Um, but even still, it was an awesome trip, and I had so much fun, and I am so grateful that my husband took me on that trip and spoiled me like a little princess. I could not have been happier with that trip. Maybe I could have, but I'm I am not going to complain. That trip was amazing. So, having that kind of adventure with the person that you love, it just sounds so cool. Traveling up and down, just not even far from your home, like just traveling up and down the states in your area, whatever's close, going and spending a weekend on the other side of the border to see what's happening in that area sounds so cool, and sounds like something that I definitely want to try. I definitely want to try traveling for dick. Now, if you have any suggestions as to where I should go, where I should end up, what parties I should hit up, you should definitely send me an email. pineapplepinuppod@gmail.com. Okay, so I don't have any questions from the listeners again this week. I'm sorry. But I do kind of have an answer to somebody answered me regarding what makes them feel what's the most awkward part. The most awkward part and I was speaking to one of the ladies at the party, and she told me that the most awkward part for her is that moment between having a conversation moving into naked play. Just that not knowing if where the timing is, and just trying to feel your way through that moment. I want to say that that moment is not unusual for women. That moment is very, very normal for women. That is a time when you're trying to figure out the best way to transition from polite conversation to freak in the sheets. And I got to tell you, I don't think men care. Men are like, get naked however you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, do it. Just be naked. Naked is good. So I I feel that though. I feel that pain, that awkwardness that you feel. But I can tell you it's probably mostly concern about the other women in the room because the men are not judging us one way or the other at all. And I've gotten to the point where that's what I'm there for. And I'm not going to get the thing that I want without stripping down. And I got to tell you, I probably at an age where I don't have any fucks to give. I don't have any fucks to give. I don't fucking care if you judge me or not. I'm okay. The only person whose opinion really truly matters to me is my husband, and he loves me through it all. And I'm very grateful for that. So I don't have any fears that something I'm going to do is going to alter anyone's opinion of me. And I guess that's a gift of age because, yeah, no, don't feel awkward out there. Like, legit, this is what you're there for. You are not everyone's cup of tea. I am not everyone's cup of tea, but you are somebody's cup of tea. Just remember that. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life podcast. I am so grateful to all of you for listening. Like, subscribe, share if you know somebody in the lifestyle who might get a kick out of it. And as always, hit me up with whatever you want to talk about. pineapplepinuppod@gmail.com. I really do look forward to hearing from you.